This is Computer Science Discoveries Unit 3, starting in Chapter 2, where we're going to start learning more advanced code to build a game. So this is the first half of Lesson 15, and this video will kind of take you through levels 1 through 7. And this first one's going to give you some overview about new code that you're going to learn in this first part of Lesson 15. And we're going to start talking about velocity as well as rotation speed. All right, so go ahead, hit continue. I want you to pause my video and take a moment to watch this short one explaining about what velocity commands do and the rotation speed command does. Okay, it ends up making your code a little more efficient and what happens inside and outside the draw loop. Okay, pause me, watch this one. All right, now let's get in and get going. Here is level number 3. It's going to start talking about velocity x, much like what was just explained in the video. One way to move them is with a counter pattern. What you did in your interactive card is you had sprite.x equals sprite.x plus something or minus something to make it move across the screen. Now we are going to use velocity instead. Do this. Drag a sprite.velocityx block directly below where your sprite is created. Okay, show me where. They want it right here. This is where you initialize the variable, give the sprite its position, set the animation. So, velocity x, boom, right here. Write the name of the sprite in the block. Assign the velocity x property a value of 1. Bing! Run the code, what happens? Now, here's what I want you to notice. Your code for this movement is happening before the draw loop, and that's very different from what we were doing beforehand. Everything you did before had to go inside the draw loop, so it would run that 30 times a second with that frame rate. Now it says rerun it, giving it a different value. So play around with this for a second, see what's going on. You can see that there's also these ellipses that are in here, these little white circles, okay? And that's part of the background in here, so cool, all right? And play around a little bit with that velocity and see what happens, okay? When you're done, here we go. Let's look at what level 4 brings now. Moving down, here is a feather sprite that should be floating down the screen. If velocity x makes it move left and right, can you find the block that'll make the feather move down? Do this, find the block, put it outside the draw loop. In other words, just like the one you just did on this level. Make the feather, use the velocity command. Wink, wink, wink. Put that in there. Make sure you do that. Make that one work. When you're done, hit finish. On level number 5. Now we're going to do rotations. So you did velocity x, velocity y. Now we're going to get into rotation a little bit. All right. Before, what you had to do was grab the sprite.rotation property, set it equal to the sprite.rotation plus something or minus something, and you put that inside that draw loop. Now we can use this one called rotation speed and set it before the draw loop to make something just run on its own. Here's what we've got to do. It says, if you want our sun, well, let's see what this looks like. Okay, pretty. We want it to rotate by 2 degrees each time it's drawn. So you're going to grab rotation speed, okay, before the draw loop. Boom. Oops. I hate when that happens. Boopity boom. All right. Variable is called sun, or the sprite is, and we want a rotation of 2. What do you think's going to happen? Okay. There she goes. Sweet. Make the sun rotate by 3 degrees each time. All right, so there was 2. Now try 3. Challenge. Do some different number and play around for a little bit to see what happens. There's not a lot of code going on here. It's just this sprite. Cool. All right, when you are done and you've gotten it to 3, then let's go to level number 6. Controlling speed. All right, we used rotation speed outside the draw loop to make it rotate, and it just did it automatically. Now we can use it inside the draw loop to change the speed of the sprite during a game. For example, the sprite can start rotating when the user presses the spacebar, and it's going to keep rotating until you tell it to stop. So in the do this, it says look at the if statement inside the draw loop that checks whether the spacebar has been pressed. Let's oomph this up a little bit. Okay, all right, here's my if loop. It already has key went down spacebar. Okay, it won't. This is what we're looking at. We want to use the rotation speed block to make this wheel start spinning when they press. All right, so it looks like we've got to do this. Variable is wheel. We want this to start turning. They didn't specify what speed you want, so put a number in there you wish. I'm going to keep it kind of simple and go with a 2. All right, now nothing's running, but if I press the space bar, there we go. Spinorama. Okay. Cool. All right. Da, da, da. So for this level, all we have to do is make it spin. Okay. They didn't tell us to do anything about how to make it stop, but I want you to think about that. Okay. Here is kind of the halfway point here. And this video is going to stop at this checkpoint. If you are in my classes, I am going to give you a score in the gradebook for this to make sure you've gotten through this checkpoint. Okay. The code before the draw loop sets up the beginning of the game. When it's inside the draw loop, that's controlling how your game is changing while it's being played and the user is inputting or pressing keys. So this one has some kind of helicopter robot. It starts at the bottom of the screen, but when the space key is pressed, it's going to fly up. Okay, so we want an if statement inside your draw loop to check when the space bar is pressed. So let's see what's happening here. Okay. There's no if statement there, so you're going to have to go in here and grab it. Then use the velocity Y block to make the sprite fly up when the user presses the space bar. So you're going to have to go here, grab that velocity Y block and put it in there. Okay. And it should just keep moving even after you let go. All right. That's all you've got to do. I'm going to check that, and that'll be kind of our checkpoint for the first half of lesson 15. All right, happy coding. Play around and challenge yourself a little bit. At the end of 6, see if you could make it stop, or even on this one. Can you figure out a way to make him stop when he's at a certain point on the screen? We'll investigate more of that in the second half. Good luck and happy coding.